And hello out there, here in Facebook land, and to all of those who may be looking at this because it's been shared to other different mediums, either YouTube or Instagram or Periscope or wherever else folks may wish to share this if they so choose. This is Big Meech, Demetrius Big Meech Taylor coming at you on this day here. It's the third Sunday of June, which in the United States of America commemorates Father's Day. So, as I am extending a happy Father's Day to all those who are fathers, whether you are biological fathers, if you are adoptive fathers, if you are pseudo dads, if you are the step-in dads, if you are just a father figure or someone who has stepped up to the plate to help guide and nurture someone into their authentic selves, into making them better people. I salute you, and I tip everything to you for your diligence and your indulgence with helping to shape and mold the minds and the talents of another individual. Particularly, I'm going to give a special shout out to the LGBT community because though I am a part of that community, we see families the same yet different at the same time because in our community, we are known as mothers and dads, okay? And it has two different connotations. And for those of us who are the mothers and the dads of the quote unquote kids, it takes a special something because not only are we showing them and being mentors to them and enriching their lives by giving them just the love and the respect that they need, the agape style love, the unconditional style love that everyone wishes that they can have. Most people, as you may find out in my book, Awakenings, Epiphanies Along a Spiritual Journey, I say that though people believe they operate in agape style love, which is unconditional, the kind that we attribute to God and spirit and everything, I really believe that most of us operate in Xenia style love, which is common courtesy. And I believe that we operate in that kind of love because it is most conditional. I love you because you've done something to me or whatever. We mistreat one another simply because I don't know you. And you can see that if you walk down the street, how many times do you speak to a stranger just because they are a human being? Or how many times do you just say hello just because, or just offer up your service to someone just because? Oftentimes we don't do that, or we get upset because, somebody says something and we grunt. We don't say hi back and this, that, and the other. So, hey, Brian, how are you, baby? Thanks for tuning in. So in that spirit of agape love, the LGBT community, we embrace those who've been shunned by their families, their mothers and their fathers biologically, who've been put out, who've been abused, who've been ostracized because of their sexual orientation. And oftentimes, we end up becoming makeshift families. And those particular kinds of families, I believe, have a little bit more heart, because your true friends are the family that you get to choose, okay? And in that regard, most of us who are mothers and fathers and carrying on, or parents, children, it's a special ordinance. But today being Father's Day, I want to do a special call to those who happen to be fathers. In LGBT world, we say daddy, y'all hear Monique say it all the time, my daddy, and this and the other. Now, it has two different kinds of connotations. There's the sexual connotation that, hey, Lewis, yeah, I know you were here first, baby, but I was on the roll, and I didn't want to stop, and then Brian just say, hey, so I didn't mean to overlook you, baby, hello. But like I say, it has two different connotations. One is a sexual connotation that most of us know, but I don't want to talk about the sexual connotation. I want to talk about the connotation that is the parenting, the nurturing connotation. You know, for those who say your daddy, okay, and there's this whole great big debate between who's a daddy, who's a father, what's the definition, and blah 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 blah. But I say to all of you, I make this a call to action because on this Father's Day, 2017, I want us to address a few things that I don't think that we address in our communities and within the male culture. Oftentimes, we assume a lot of things just because we're men, we're boys, we're males. We assume that these are supposed to be things that we do. We're supposed to know how to do. We're supposed to be upright and this, that, and the other. And I'm going to challenge all of the fathers, the daddies, the poppies, the pseudo dads, the uncles, the grandparents. I challenge you to become a bigger part of that child's life or your mentee's life. And let's bring back or let's reinstitute the idea of mentorship, positive mentorship and apprenticeship. How many of us are in trades and carrying on? You are, you work on cars, you do computer work, or you do something, whatever your talent is. Back in the day, we used to have apprenticeship programs where fathers taught their children the trade. Now it was a bit sexist because, fathers always wanted their sons to be just like them. And they always wanted to make sure their sons knew this and their sons knew that. I'm going to challenge us to return or reinstitute that. Bring those kinds of services back so that our kids can have a better opportunities in the future, honey. If we do not give them the tools or teach them the tools, then how are we going to expect them to be our legacy? Besides just having our names and our likeness. You know what I mean? For those of you, I was not one who was privy to this. My father, you know, was estranged for a number of years, and just recently, as an adult, he and I are having better communication now. But when he was a young man and carrying on, I can't necessarily fault him because he did what he knew. As a young man, he was 16, going on 17 when he had me, he and my mom. Okay, I was the firstborn. There were four children. Okay, so by the time my dad was 23, 24 years old, he had four kids. Okay, and in that time, as a 23, 24-year-old man, young, we talking about the 70s, baby. Everything was popping. Everything was popping. Free love, sex, rock and roll. As a young man, he was trying to forge his way. He was married with a wife he didn't understand, who, he was trying to be like his dad, and that didn't work for him, because the type of woman that he had wasn't taking that kind of bullshit, to be frank. Okay. And so, though he saw himself as a failure and made his choices that he made, we as the children suffered because, he wasn't there with us in that capacity. Now there's only three of us. You guys know that I've lost my brother 4 years ago. And, whatever that weight is on him, as someone who has lost a child, who was not an active part of our lives, I pray that he's able to find peace with that. And this is something that I've told him. Now, I'm not saying anything behind his back that I've not said to his face. So don't think I'm just trying to diss him or whatever. But the point that I'm making is, my father was, he was a hustler, okay, in the positive sense of the word. My father knew how to, he's damn good on that grill. My daddy can grill his ass off. You understand me? That man, I'm surprised he is well enough to where I think he could go and compete in those grilling competitions, okay? My dad is a hands-on guy, Okay, he used to work for Ford and built cars and carried on. My dad, he know how to pitch some horseshoes, so that was one of his hustles. My dad, he was a street gambler. He go throw some horseshoes and carried on. My dad is one. He what we used to call, the grease monkeys or the backyard mechanics. He knows how to work on cars and that kind of stuff. And like I said, one of my proudest things about him is that motherfucker is lovely on the grill. You understand me? Now, I say all that proudly because I recognize his skills. What saddens me is that because he was a young man and really didn't understand fatherhood at that time, those particular skills were not passed on to me and to my brother. Uh, at the time, my sisters were babies, so they really don't know him. Okay. And so as a man growing up, we forged our way. We have our own talents or whatever. He wasn't there to nurture our talents. And, in the way that we thought a father should, or would, or the way that society deems that fathers should be. So this particular Father's Day, as I share my story, the whole thing that I'm saying as a call to action is that we reinstitutionalize the whole idea of mentoring, the whole idea of apprenticeship. You guys watch Harry Potter and carrying on. You see when they have talents or whatever, those talents are nurtured because you go through and you teach them how to do it. You teach them this, you teach them that. Also, my dad, like I said, as a hustler, my dad used to cut hair. He just sit down. That was a buzz cut, before we got real fancy with all this, that, and the other. But Daddy was good with the clippers. My father used to sit down when we were kids and cut everybody's hair in the neighborhood. And that was $5 a cut, or what? Well, maybe five. Maybe it wasn't quite $5 then, because maybe $2, $3 or whatever the going rate was. He undercut it by a dollar or two because we were in the hood, and that there was something that should have been instilled in us, to get that honest hustle going on. One of the things about hustling is that we have lost the honesty in it. I don't mind an honest hustle, honey. The children that's outside or whatever, I do not mind an honest hustle. For those of you who are boosters and carrying on, I'm not knocking your game, baby. I'm not knocking your game because, hell, if you got out of the store with it and carrying on and you able to sit down there and give it to me at a good price, yeah, I'm a buyer. I ain't shit. Hey, okay. At the same time, I don't mind an honest hustle. For those of you who bake and do the cookies and do the lemonade stands and this, that, and the other, if you are the television repairman, if you're the cable guy, whatever, I don't mind an honest hustle. Okay, I do mind that illegal shit, and I say that because it seems as though oftentimes what we now call the hustle has been the back alley stuff, the underground stuff, the criminalization of shit. And those seem to be the hustles that we encourage our kids to do. Oh, you got to do what you got to do to make a dollar, whatever. You quick to put somebody out on the damn stroll. You're quick to put some drugs in somebody's hand to go sell. And that's not, I'm not going to knock it completely. I don't particularly care for that particular route because it has the consequences are too grand for me. However, for those who have to do it, I'm not knocking your hustle or whatever, baby, because we all need to get over. But the question becomes, how do you teach one to do more than get over? Now, for those who had to take those, I don't hear drug people putting stuff in the bank or, setting up a 401k plan or even putting something to aside or whatever. It's sad that these kids, they did all this hustling and yet you got to put up a YouTube page. I mean, not a YouTube, but a GoFundMe page because you didn't get no fucking health insurance or no life insurance. We got to bury you and carry on. You're looking for the public to help you bury you. And that you did your dirt and did not take yourself into consideration. See, those are the things that I'm challenging dads and fathers today on this Father's Day. Let's get into some real conversation. Let's get into more than just saying, okay, you're my dad and this, that, and the other. It's more than just a beer and a fucking football or baseball game or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is more than that. We want to instill a better legacy for our children and our grandchildren, because now the grandfather, hell, I'm 47, and at this particular stage, God help me, I say this all the time, if my girlfriend at the time had said yes, if she had said yes when I was baby please, ooh, baby please, the day that she skipped her first hour class to walk to school with me because I started school second hour. If she had said yes today, I would be the father of a 31-year-old, or was it 32? One of the two. Yeah, he'd be 30 years old. She'd be, well, her first, and I say that because when she said no to me, she said yes to the dude she was dating before me. And 6 months later, she was pregnant. So that could have easily been my child. And she had a boy. So that boy could have been mine. And I would be the father of a 30-something-year-old right about now. But, uh, saying all of that, I challenge all of us to do better with our children. If you don't have a relationship with your children, but you have a relationship with the grandchildren, put the love that you didn't give to the kids into the grandchildren. If you're trying to win your children's heart back, go through the grandkids, baby. That's something I had to tell my dad. I was like, Daddy, it's too late for you to be dad now. Because the lessons or whatever that you have to instill, not that we still can't learn from him. It's just that we're grown now. We didn't have that fear or that respect level for you to say, okay, oh, my daddy said this, my daddy said that. We don't have that. So that particular essence of it is a little too late. But if you want to soften their hearts and get that love and to earn that respect, go through the grandkids. Okay, now the first set, hell, they're 22 this year. Okay, the first set of grandchildren. So, and there's 4 of them. My siblings had children all the same year. So they'll all be 22 this year. And, it's still a lesson and it's still an ongoing process. So for those of us who, if you do not have a relationship with your children, but desire to, take that small step. First off, the first thing to say is, I apologize for hurting you. Not if I hurt you. I apologize for hurting you. Because that's the one thing that you're not going to be able to just move away from. Because that pain, that hurt of not being there, being absent or whatever is real. And the child got to process that. What they need from you is an apology and an acknowledgement of that hurt. Once you do that, then comes the other steps if the child lets you back in. If they don't let you in, then the next step that you have to do, now, don't try to butter them up or whatever, but now you have to now encourage and acknowledge that you got kids. Because oftentimes daddies will acknowledge, they don't acknowledge they have children until they see the children doing something good. You see that on the TV all the time with the sports stars or whatever. You wasn't a part of the child's life, but now he done got this $20 million contract or whatever. Now you want to come bipping and bumping and running like you done did some shit, really? No, you don't earn that. You did not earn that. So now what you have to do is earn their respect by looking at their accomplishments, talking about what they've done, acknowledging the fact that they were able to do that without my assistance. And it saddens me that that I wasn't there, but look at what they were able to achieve without me. So I know that blood is still a part of me. I just wish that I could bask in it for real. You know what I'm saying? Or not necessarily bask in it for real. I misspoke. I wish I could bask in it with them on that level. That's what I want to get to. You know what I'm saying? So in that, start doing the work. If you have a relationship with your children, and it may be a little strained because you may not like the decisions that they made. A lot of us are, those who are LGBT, fathers and carrying on, who have thrown away their kids, or not necessarily thrown them away, but have a distance, with them. That may be something that you have to work on. Our heteroattractional counterparts. You got kids, but hell, daddy was at work all the damn time. He was never there. So he may not know who you are. Because he was never there. Mama took care of everything. And, daddy came in. If it was a problem, that's when you heard his voice. He growled, he rumbled and carried on. I said do this, I said do that. And he laid down the law. But, there was no personal interaction. So oftentimes, a lot of that gets misconstrued, and then the child don't know where to go from there. So I'm saying all this to say, on this particular Father's Day, let's start to better ourselves. I challenge all of you. For those of you who are my age and older or whatever, you may sit up there and hear me and say, oh, okay, yeah, I hear where you at, but that may not work. I challenge you to say it will. For those of you who are young dads, young fathers, you just got new babies or whatever, I'm going to challenge you to this. Don't sit up here and make them all this little hip hop shit. That's a part of life, but that's not all of life. Yes, you want to give them all the tools necessary. You don't want them to be ignorant to anything that you can help. It's not that they're going to know everything, but as long as you can help it, yes, show them what this is. Show them why you don't like it. And then voice your opinion, but also know that their life is their life. They may end up gravitating to that. You understand? But at least show them what it is. Teach them your skills, not just how to hustle and sling some damn dope and carrying on, and how to be hard and all that, because that's not necessarily what makes a man. Being hard and having all these different women or whatever. And as you can see, we got folks who got babies all across the damn world. Y'all see Iyanla Vanzant had the kids up there. The man got 34 damn kids. How you taking care of 34 kids? Okay, there's 2 children out in Tennessee, and they in Memphis. Both of them in the same part of Memphis. One got 29, the other got 33 kids. What the fuck is this? How is it we're not stepping up, men, and telling our young men how to be better men? Just because you're going around, laying pipe does not make you a man. It doesn't make you daddy. Or whatever. Maybe it does in the bedroom because, hell, everybody like to get their ass slapped or whatever. Ooh, do me daddy, do me daddy. But honey, after those 15, 20 minutes, and if you're fortunate enough to have a long-winded, person, good for you. But after it's all said and done, everybody done got their little nothing carrying on. Everybody done huffed and puffed and sweating and things. Made him something to eat. Kicked his feet up, snoring and went to sleep and carrying on. When it's all said and done and you get back into everyday world, what is it that he's going to accomplish? What is it that he's doing to say he is the man that's going to stand up to responsibilities? A man that is going to take care of not only his family, but himself. What are we teaching our young men today to do that? Because I don't see that out there. Those of you who are like me, a parent to the world, you uncle this, you mama that, you daddy this, whatever the title that they've given you, what are you doing to instill a better something for the next generation and the generation after that? We've got to do that. And I'm challenging everyone this particular Father's Day. Men, I'm calling you out. Because we seem to be the ones that want to have all of this, oh, I'm hard, I'm down, I'm this, I'm that. And we tend to get the idea of what being a man is misconstrued. Because we let the idea of masculinity rest, rule, and abide along a definition that I think is archaic. Because we have all these unspoken rules, we have all these unspoken whatevers to say that this is what it means to be a man. And yet we're not taking care of ourselves. We do not go to the doctors. We do not take the necessary precautions that we need to do. We do not let our emotions show unless we want to fight or fuck. Okay? And that there is doing a disservice to our young boys because it is not giving them the truth. They're not living in their authenticity because we aren't. So this Father's Day, as y'all want to take daddy out and carrying on or whatever you're going to do, because unfortunately, Father's Day does not get the same appeal that Mother's Day does. Because if this was Mother's Day, I didn't do a message for Mother's Day because, hell, I didn't need to. All of the stores were booked. All of the flower shops had empty flower. Child, you couldn't find no damn flowers. All of the Golden Corrals and all of the everything was booked. Churches, honey, everybody, mamas had new hats. Mama's Day is full. Daddy's Day don't get that same regard, and maybe we should start doing that. But at the same time, it has to be earned because we have a lot of folks out there who are not earning that respect to say, this is my dad, this is my father. You know what I'm saying? For those of you like I am who are reestablishing your relationship with your father, 7 years ago, no, that's not right. It's 10 years ago now. 10 years ago was the first time that I called my father on Father's Day willingly because I heard a song. It was Kiki Shepherd, and the song is called Done Done Did It. And the line in it says, if he don't do nothing else, He's already done enough. And that just kept rolling in my head. And I had to sit down there and release all of that anger that I had from my father for not being the father that I wanted him to be, and this, that, and the other. Because if he didn't do nothing else, honey, he was responsible for getting me here. And I'm here as a direct result of him doing what he did with mama to get me here, because he was the chosen vessel for me to be here. So if he didn't do nothing else, he did enough. Okay? And that's what I had to, that resonated in my spirit. And now I'm able to call him and say, Happy Father's Day, Daddy. You know, in love, without any malice, without it being forced upon me. And now the next thing is, how do we now go to the next level? What is it that we need to do as young men, as fathers, as dads, as uncles, as mentors, as grandfathers, great uncles? Okay, what do we need to do to instill that? If you got a skill, I don't care what it is. It could be good, bad, or indifferent. And I want to concentrate on the good, because the bad ones are already highlighted. We got too many movies about the hood. You see the hood movies that carrying on. Yeah, you teach little motherfucker, you don't sit down there and do this. This is how you work it. You done taught them how to shoot guns. You done taught them how to sling the dope. You done taught them how to cut the dope. We done taught all of the bad stuff. I want to see some of the good. For those of you who are bankers and finances and carrying on, teach the kids how to work money. Okay? Teach them how to open a bank, what that is. Teach them entrepreneurship, how to build and get a good business off and running. Not these little side hustle shits that are fly-by-night do-wah-ditties. Because oftentimes, that's how come a lot of folks don't deal with other black businesses, because they're coming across like fly-by-night do-wops. You know, there is no investment into it. You don't know what you're talking about. A lot of us don't have the research. You don't research your demographic. You don't research your marketing pool or whatever. Your target audience. We don't have all of that. And for those of us who are into those particular things, teach that to your kids. You know, if you see they're not interested in what it is that you're doing, teach it to them anyway, because they need that skill. And then what you do is look at them, study your children, find out what they gravitate to, so that you can nurture their talents, so that they can say, wow, my father stood behind me. I'm going to tell you, this is 2017. Back in 2014, when we did my play, No Time for the Pain, we opened for the very first time. I wrote that show 20-some odd years ago, and we opened in full for the very first time in my hometown of Detroit. And my father came to come and see the matinee, the Sunday matinee show, and I'm about to willow up, and I wasn't trying to do this. But my father came to see the show. And that was the first time in my life that my father said, I am proud of you, without any strings attached. You know, my father looked at me and was crying. And I looked at him, I said, Daddy, and tears rolled down his left eye. I said, Daddy, you crying? And he's, you know, trying to play it off. I was like, no. And I went and I wiped his tear. I said, Daddy, you crying? And he said, son, I'm just so proud of you. And that meant everything to me, okay? Because for so long, I'm the firstborn. I'm the gay one in the family. You know, I'm not the most masculine. And for a long time, a lot of the violence that he and my mother had, I thought I was the result of it, because I wasn't what he wanted me to be. And I had to learn that I had to be my own man. Whatever that, you know, I had to define that for myself. And that particular day was when my father acknowledged me for the man that I am. And that is everything, okay? And some folks are not privy to that, and they don't have that opportunity. A lot of, you know, your fathers have passed on, and you may not have had that particular opportunity, or were granted that experience. And for that, my heart goes out to you if you've never had that experience. For those of you like my nieces and my nephew who lost their father early. My brother passed 4 years ago. So his children, may not have all of the other experiences. They're still kids, okay? And so they're just forging their way into the world. So they won't have the adult experience, from their father acknowledging them and their successes as adults. So for that, I have to stand in the place of that because those are my babies. You know what I'm saying? So in saying all that, I'm challenging all you fathers out there, all of you fathers. This is a call to action because we have to do better. Okay, we have to do better. Y'all see the plight of these kids out here. Y'all see it's easier for them to get a gun than it is to pick up a book. You see it's easier for them to fall by the wayside than it is for them to be brought up and picked up and lifted up. And it's easier for them to become little pimps and ballers and shot callers than it is for them to be, to be recognized as a young man who is on point, who is on track. Okay, we got to come out of thinking that basketball and entertainment are the only options of a way out. They are options because I'm in entertainment. They are options. I'm not knocking those options, but there are other options as a means and a way out. So let's do better. Whatever your skill set is, teach that to the child. Teach it to the child. Give it to them. Give them a skill set. Show them the elementary tools to it so that way they won't depart from it. They always have something to lean on. They can say, oh, my daddy taught me this, my daddy taught me that. Give them that and let that be a part of your legacy as well. Not just in namesake, not just because he junior or the second or the third or whatever the case may be. Give them your skills. Give them your passion. Show them what you're passionate about. If you are a fisherman, take the child fishing. Daddy did that with me once. Okay, I didn't like it because I didn't like killing the worms. I just couldn't do it, child. That was too much for me. Putting the worms on the hook, I can't do it. Okay, I couldn't. And trying to cast the damn reel, I always came up with seaweed or whatever. My brother was hot with it. My brother did fabulous. I, on the other hand, honey, no. That wasn't, I couldn't do all that shit. Okay. But nonetheless, he showed me what to do. And I'm almost certain if somebody would have tried to take me fishing now, they had to show me a couple of things, but I could hold my own, a little bit. But it won't be completely foreign to me. You understand? Teach your kids that. Teach them the skills. We need apprenticeship. If you don't know how to do it or whatever, maybe you got, like I said, the uncles, the grandparents or whatever. Maybe y'all have a business. I have a great aunt. They passed on now, but my cousins, my second cousins, they had a paper business and things of that nature. Now, I don't know what Winston and them have done with it since their parents have passed on. All I know is Winston Products, or that's not the right name, but I'm going to say Winston Products. That was the thing. Okay. And hell, that was part of understanding how business run and carrying on, how to acquire property. If you're in real estate or whatever, child, that's what this is, dear. That's what this is all about. Showing them how to flip a house or whatever, showing them what to do because they got to buy. They're going to buy a house one day, hopefully. And if not buy, they got to rent because they got to get their own. So show them what to look for so they don't get duped. Okay, and teach that to your girls as well, not just the boys. For those of you who are mechanics out there, y'all know mechanics are very shysty and want to take advantage of women and carry on and want to overcharge, overprice or whatever. Teach them how to do it. So if they don't do it for themselves, if they don't feel like doing it for themselves and they want to pay somebody to do it, they won't get duped. You see what I'm saying? Understand what this is. If you're in the music industry, child, hey, teach them the boards. Maybe they could be fabulous producers, even if they don't want to do it. If you see that's not their passion, show them how to do it anyway so they can acquire a skill. Because the more you know, the more you will grow and the faster you will grow. That's what we got to instill in our children. So on this particular Father's Day, 2017, as I say, happy Father's Day to all of you who are fathers, uncles, daddies, pseudo dads, pseudo moms, or whatever. I co-parent. Here in the LGBT community, I have a son, and I have I have someone who co-parents him with me. I was gonna get all into that, but he don't like on Facebook, so I'll just leave it at that. And we co-parent him. And it's funny because you will swear we had this boy, okay? But nonetheless, uh, that there is what this is. So between the two of us, we're showing him and giving him skills and showing him how to be better, to go and to get into his authenticity so that he can do better, so he can grow and understand how life is funny. Life is what you make of it, honey. It was never promised to be easy, only abundant. Okay? And that abundancy is whatever you determine. It could be good, bad, or indifferent. It could be all of the above. All you have to know is it was never promised to be easy. You got to get out there and do the work. And parenting is doing the work. Fathering is doing the work. You can't put that all on the mother to help to say she got to raise the kids. You've got to be there too. So on this Father's Day, children, I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to make this a call to action. Take this and share this with whoever you feel will get it or what you think ought to hear it, because we need to get into the space of teaching our children our trades, our skills, so that they can have skills to move on and to progress in life. As y'all see, the school system ain't shit. The school systems are not doing what they used to do. So we got to get back into it. We don't even have the apprenticeship programs like that. Remember we used to have the VOTEC centers and all of that? The vocational schools and things of that nature. We don't even have those anymore. It used to be a time where you could either go to college or go to a trade school, learn the trade, and then go out into the world. Well, now the trade schools have become a ripoff. How many of y'all sitting up there with these little schools, Herzing and Everett and all of that for this medical shit, medical billing and all this kind of shit? But hell, they want you to take out all these damn loans for these little classes to where you become $75,000, $100,000 in debt just to learn a trade. For real? For real? Really? You know what I'm saying? Versus going to university, to a college or university and carrying on, and hell, doing the 4 years and calling it grace. Because if you're going to spend that kind of money, you might as well take the cheaper route and get a fuller education and pay less money. And I know it seems a little bit that way, but the trade schools were supposed to be the accelerated classes to where they taught you the trade, and then you supposed to they cut out all the extracurriculars and all of that so that you can become a little bit more proficient. You're going to be hands on and this, that, and the other. Well, honey, they still not guaranteeing jobs. You see what I'm saying? They don't guarantee all that stuff anymore. So the trade schools, you done spent all this money and you still come out of there without a job. So how come we're not teaching our kids our skills and our stuff and then let them come on in? Part of the apprenticeship was they do the internship at the shop. If you work on cars, the child come down after school for a couple of hours and you taught him how to change the spark plugs, how to change the oil and this, that, and the other. Those are the kinds of things that we got to get back into. If you cut hair, I know I'm from Michigan. I know the barber college in Michigan was a fortune. I love going to the school to have the students cut my hair because it was a cheaper haircut, but they were learning how to do it. If they fucked it up, they went up, the instructor came in and cleaned up what they could clean up or whatever. If it was a toe-up haircut or whatever, I didn't pay for it. If they could clean it up, whatever, it was a $4 haircut. They always say you get what you pay for, but when you went school, with students, you are going to allow for that. You know what I'm saying? Even down at the medical centers and stuff, you get a lot of student doctors and carrying on that. They don't prescribe medicine and give shots without it being right. But you get student doctors and carrying on, so they got to learn. So if they're learning, honey, this is what they got to have on the job training. So bring back the apprenticeship programs, bring back the mentorship programs, bring back the unofficial internships. And I call it unofficial because oftentimes, schools will offer classes companies or businesses will offer internships so that you could get school credit. But what about the unauthorized or the unofficial internships? Hell, I just want to sit around and learn it. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, fathers, for those of you who cook, you know how to cook, and can on teach that to the kids. Nobody knows how to cook these days. Nobody know how to do something. This generation don't know shit from scratch. They don't know how to keep staples in the damn cabinet and stuff anymore. You need your flour, your sugar, your beans, your baking soda and stuff in the cabinet at all times. If you got your staples in the cabinet at all times, you will never go hungry. Right? You can make a drop biscuit and some beans and rice, child. Hell, call it grace. Or make some cornbread from scratch. You have to teach the kids that. So this particular Father's Day, this is a call to action, honey. I challenge you. I implore you. When you get to your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, or whatever it is, okay, the children, okay, for the LGBT community, when you get there, teach them the skills, honey. Teach them your skills so that they can have more skills to add to their arsenal. So when they're out here in this God-forsaken world at times, and God didn't forsake us, just the world has just become a place to where this is just hell. So when you're out here and you got to conquer hell, they have more tools in their arsenal than need me, honey. Hell, y'all watch Wonder Woman. You see Wonder Woman the movie, honey? Come on now. Hell, she did what she had to do. Batman got a tool belt, honey. Got everything. A bat this and a bat that. Get them prepared, children. Get them prepared. That's what I'm saying to you. So happy Father's Day to all who are up under that umbrella as father. For single mothers, I'm not going to include you in that this time because I want to talk to the men. I respect your title because my mother, was a single mother for a number of years, and I'm not going to disrespect that and downplay that at all. But I want to talk to the men today, and there's just some things, ladies, that you just can't do because this is a man thing, and we need to step up to that plate so that it could come off of yours because it shouldn't have been on your plate in the first place. But I want to talk to the men today, and I'm saying men as in males. All of you born male and still identify as a male, those are the ones who I'm talking to. Okay. All of my trans men out there who step up to the plate, I applaud you. I applaud you. Your plight is a little different. It's a little different, and I'm not going to disrespect it and saying it has no merit here, but I want to talk to all of my biological males because for the most part, we have already been the ones stepping up to the plate. I want to talk to the ones who actually made these kids. Those are the ones, who I'm sending this out to today. So with that, take and share this with everybody who you feel can learn something from it. If you love me, tell a friend, honey. If you hate me, tell an enemy. But please take and share this on this particular Father's Day. And I will talk to you on another occasion. Peace and blessings to you. God